table where we laughed and talked all day. So long ago, love was offered. The joy of being together made you want to stay. Take me back.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Life with Nana. I'm Nana and I'm so glad you're here today. Today, we are beginning a journey to make chicken stock and chicken stew. So I've got lunch in the microwave over there. So if you hear it go off, I'm trying to listen for it, but sometimes I miss these things. You know how I can't hear well. So I have in my pot here 4 whole chickens. Now I washed these off and give them a good wash. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover them with water. So I have my first gallon of water. All right. So now we're going to give these some seasoning. I'm going to start off with salt. This is a lot of broth and a lot of meat, so I'm putting probably 3 tablespoons of salt in there. I'm going to add a bay leaf for each chicken. Some of these are kind of small, the bay leaves. I'm going to add some granulated garlic. And that's probably about 3 tablespoons. That's what I'm going for, about 3 tablespoons. Now I'm going to put some onions in here. Onion powder, I mean. I'm going to turn this up on high. I'm going to let it get to cooking, and then we will turn it down. We'll let it cook low and slow until tomorrow. I'm going to get it up onto, what does this say, 450. I'm going to let it come up to that. And then I'm going to turn it down to about 200, maybe even a little less. And we're just going to let this cook until tomorrow. And all of the chicken will be done. And we'll have our nice, rich broth. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chicken flesh off. And I'm going to put it in something else. And I'm going to let the bones cook in my broth probably for another 12 hours. Possibly even another full day. And that's just up to you. That's just how I'm going to go about this. And then once the broth is done, we'll remove all of the bones. We'll remove as much fat as we can. And then we are going to make chicken stew. I'm hoping to get a canner of broth and a canner of the stew. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so we're going to put the lid on. And that is all she wrote for today. We're going to let that just get to going. And then, like I said, I'm going to turn it down to probably between 150 and 200 and let it cook all night. And then when in the morning, I'll bring you back and let you see how we debone these chickens and get the meat off. And we'll put the bones back in here and let them cook again. Today we're in the kitchen and we're having a big cooking, canning day. In my big roaster oven over here, I have bone broth going. So what I did is I took the chicken off of the bones and I put them back in there and I added a little more water, and I'm going to let this go all night again. And then tomorrow I will bring this out and I will can it. All right, so the first thing we need to do is to get this chicken in the jars. So the chicken has already been cooked. So it's not that big of a deal. It's cooled off some. We're just going to break it up into pieces and we're going to be putting it in our jars. And we're hoping to get, we are really hoping to get 7 jars, but if we don't, we don't. This is a good time if you find any little gristles or little bones to get those out of there, because this chicken will be used probably to do things like chicken and dumplings. Or, ooh, that's hot down in there. Maybe even like chicken salad, that type of thing. We don't want to stuff this too tightly in the jars, but we do want to get it filled fairly well. Little bone, let's get that out. This is going to be just enough, I think. I've got my canner set up and it will be ready to go. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is pour some chicken stock over the chicken. We want to get it to about a 1-inch headspace. That one has just a little too much. This will go down when you start debubbling. If it doesn't, I will take some out. This one just has too much in it, so let's get a little bit of that out. That could use just a little bit more. All right. And we're going to wipe the rims of the jars first to get the debris off, and then I'm going to go back and wipe them with some vinegar water or some vinegar on my rag. But right now I'm just looking to get debris off of the... And that worked out real well, didn't it? Getting seven jars. This one still seems to have a little bit too much in there. Okay. Let's re-wipe those. We're going to put our 4 jars, canning lids on here. These are my favorite jar lids. All right, we can put these in our canner. We're going to pressure can these for 75 minutes because they're pints. You must pressure can meat. We're going to get our lid and put on there. And I'm going to lock it down this time. We're going to make sure this is on vent because it's got a vent for 10 minutes. And it's going to start warming up the water. And we'll be ready to go. Well, okay, everybody. We got 7 jars of chicken ready to go on our food storage shelf over there. But first, we have to let them sit until in the morning. You don't want to be moving them around too much. You want them to just sit and be comfy and cozy. I am going to push them up just a little bit. This is something that I do, and I'm not sure where this came from. I think it's just something I did because my mother did it. And I know all of these are sealed. I can tell by the look of them, all of the little pop-up things in the middle have been suctioned down. I didn't have any siphoning in my water, so that was wonderful. These are going to be great to go on our shelves over there. We can make so many things with these. I could list off 50 things that we can make with canned chicken. So I'm going to cover these up because, y'all, it has turned off hot here in North Alabama. It was cool this morning, but it has turned off to be kind of warm here. So I'm going to cover these up because my air conditioner is running and the vent is right up there. And I don't want that cold air hitting these hot jars. So, well, good morning. We're on day 3 of our broth making, and it's the 3rd morning, and it's time to get this broth put in jars. So the first thing I did is turn it off. It's still very, very hot. And over here, let me show you what I have set up over here. So I have a large bowl, and I have my strainer, and then I'm going to put a piece of cheesecloth in that. And that's going to strain all the little bits out. Now, as you can see, this has a lot of the bones and the fat and all that still in it. So I don't know what this is called. I think it's called a spider maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. If you know what this is called, tell me in the comments. I just know it's very handy. So I'm just going to gently try to get out as much of this as I can. I've got jars ready to go. My canner is ready to go. I've got my little measuring cup that defats. And so I'm hoping I can use that. So we're just going to keep getting this out, and then I'm going to start putting it through the cheesecloth over here, and we're going to get all these little bits out. Remember, we had 4 chickens in here, so there's a lot of bones and fat and all that in there. I'm not too worried about all the little bitty pieces because that's going to be we're going to get that out when we run this through the cheesecloth. All right. So I'm going to put this on the stove because it's very hot. And I'm hoping I can do this and kind of stay out of y'all's way so y'all can see. If I can get it down to enough that I can just lift this pan up, we'll do it that way. Okay, we're going to stop there for a moment, and I am going to lift this out. I think we can get more in there. All right. So maybe that'll be a little better. I'm trying to watch how far up this comes. So I'm just going to leave this right here so I can see. Let me turn you just a little. Go. All right. So we have some beautiful broth here. All right. So we're going to get some jars lined up pretty close right here. You have to be careful. This is so hot. Okay, so we want to leave a 1-inch headspace. That's right at the bottom of this last little rim on your jar. This will get a lot of the fat out. Now, a lot of people, including myself, if it's cold, and it's not cold here, but if it's cold where you're at, you could have set this whole thing, once you got all the bones and fat, everything, outside and let it cool. And the fat would have risen to the top, and the fat would have risen to the top, and you wouldn't have to worry about getting too much fat in here. I don't mind a little bit of fat. I just don't want enough that it's going to harm the seal. Now, because this does have fat in it, I'm going to take some vinegar on a paper towel, and I'm going to go right around the very tops of my rims. And I'm going to go ahead and put my lids on these, hoping there won't be an accident. Now this broth is hot, and I am heating up my canner so that it'll get hot. And it is. And so I'm going to go ahead and set these two in the canner so they'll stay hot. And we'll just keep going like that until we have 7 jars. And we can get the canner going. This is going to be beautiful on the shelf. And it's going to be wonderful to make things like chicken and dumplings, or more chicken soup, or whatever you want to do. I like to put it in rice when I'm cooking my rice. We'll just keep going just like this. This certainly makes it easier to fill your jars. Oops. I forgot to wipe that off. Let me wipe that. Now, if you can hear the rain, it is pouring down here in North Alabama. So it's a nice day to be in the kitchen doing something. All right, now I'm going to pour the rest of this back in here. I'm almost positive I didn't get anything on the rim of the jar, but it's always a good idea to wipe it down just in case. All right. Now I'm going to put my lid back on my canner. I'm going to lock it down. Make sure it's on vent. Let it go forward now. Now, when you're canning broth, you only have to can pint jars for 20 minutes. And if you're canning quart jars, 25 minutes. All right, we're going to put this back over here. And we're going to see if we can get the rest of this in there. I don't know if this is a little bit heavy for me. What we'll do is just try to get out a few more of the cupfuls. All right, let's get this back off of here. I'm going to let most of the broth go back down into the bowl here. All right. So now we're set. All right, our canner is done. So we're going to get these out of the canner. Thank you, Lord. They're all sealing good. That's a beautiful sound. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to put a cloth over these because these are super hot and the air conditioner is kicking on. All right, let's see if we can get 7 more jars. This has been cooling off, and I've been skimming the fat off of the top of it as it settles. There's still some. You want to go to that first rim. That is a 1-inch headspace. I love this defatter measuring cup. Keeps a lot of the fat out of your jars. I really like to do broth in the wintertime so I can set it out on the back porch and let all the fat come to the top. It makes it easier. Get a little bit of vinegar on a paper towel and wipe every rim. And put our rings and lids on. You always need a brand new lid. The rings don't matter. I save the lids when I take them off if they're not bent, and I use them on things that I just want to, like dry good products that I want to seal. That one had just a little too much in it. Let's re-wipe it. All right, let me check my water over here. Yeah. There's absolutely no siphoning. That's wonderful. But the water in my canner is hot and the broth is not. "20 minutes for pints." Put the lid back on. Lock it down and put it on vent. We've got our jars inserted and it's going to start warming up. And so when we get ready to bring those out, I'll bring you back. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know I have enjoyed being in the kitchen with you. I want you to know how much I love you and how proud I am of each and every one of you. You know, we all have to do the best we can, and but this is one thing that I do that I enjoy, and is canning and preserving food and having food on my food shelf over there, and it keeps me sane. So if you're going through something, a tragedy in your family, if you're going through grief, if you're going through depression or anxiety or any of those things, just know that you have people in the Life with Nana crowd that understand. And we're proud of you. If you got up today and you showered and you did a load of clothes, or you canned something, or you got out for a few minutes and went to a yard sale, whatever it was, we're proud of you for doing that. I love you so much, and I want you to know you always have a friend here. And I'll see you on the next one.